Can you guys see that, my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll start at the top. Our vision for the future. You know, in terms of for WPV, our Genesis story, it began in May of 2007 with Pat Brubaker. Pat Brubaker, she has been a longtime Westchester resident, and like many older adult residents, lived alone and went through a series of surgeries. She had to have a hip replacement, and then after she had the hip replacement, she fell and broke her femur on that same leg. As you can imagine, the pain and discomfort that Pat was in at that time. Pat didn't have any, you know, like so many seniors, she didn't have any family members around her to help her. She relied on the support of friends and neighbors in order to help her get through this time. While she was recovering, she keeps thinking there has to be some type of services out in communities that can provide services in helping someone in her situation to recover. And while she was recovering at home, she came upon an article in the LA Times. It talks about Aging in Place initiative. And when she read that story, she took action. That is what I like about Pat's story so much in terms of how WPV began. She didn't sit around and waited for somebody else to take action. She took action, and she reached out to Beacon Hill Village in Boston. She engaged her community members in conversation, and even the politicians in the community, because she really saw this as something viable and that was needed in the Westchester community back in 2007. And this is where the village model began. The village model began with Pat. She decided at that time she was going to start. And you know, starting any organization is no easy feat, but Pat decided she was going to start an organization that can support seniors like her right here in Westchester. As she engaged with the community and people that she knew, she decided to start with Westchester and Playa del Rey communities. And the village model is aging in your homes, is for the older adult to age in their homes and communities where they feel safe and are familiar with their surroundings. So in 2009 is when the Westchester Village Network Corporation began. However, by the end of 2009, the organization had changed its name from Westchester Village Network Corporation to Westchester Playa Village to better represent both communities, Westchester and Playa del Rey. Moving along our timeline, in 2010, one of the things Pat and her group of volunteers knew at that time that was starting the organization is that they had to secure funding to build the organization's capacity. So they tapped into the resources that was closest to them because they wanted to hire a small staff and also to open the first office right here in Westchester. As a matter of fact, where we still are today. And that happened in 2010. In 2011, we recruited 12 volunteers along with 11 members, fulfilling 115 service requests. As time went on, in 2012, 2015, we expanded our services to Marina del Rey, Playa Vista, Ladera Heights, and Culver City. In 2016, we went through another name change and became Westside Pacific Villages because the organization was growing. We kept growing, and the communities we were serving were expanding. We had about 1,000 service requests per month. So the name change fit the new geographic areas that Westside Pacific Villages, was serving at that time in 2016. The village movement, the village concept and the village model is a part of a larger movement. WPV is a part of a national organization with more than 250 villages. Right here in California, we have over 45 villages. Some of them I've begun to network with and reach out to talk about challenges, to problem solve amongst ourselves. We also have the Village Movement California, which is like our association that we tap into for resources and to help us think through challenges as they arrive and to provide better services. Moving along our timeline, in 2020, I think we all knew this, COVID became an issue and WPV responded. We were small and agile enough to respond to the needs of the community, because I think we all know that COVID was impacted the older community in the worst way possible. But with the volunteers we have, we were able to double in size to 300, and we were serving more than 200 people, providing over 1,500 requests for services monthly. As we move along our timeline, from where we are today, our programs and services includes transportation to and from doctor's appointments and grocery shopping. We plan events, and this is all of the social connecting to prevent isolation and loneliness with seniors. We plan and implement events like picnics. We go to IHOP, we go to museums, and we engage in different ways in the community. Again, this is a way to help seniors connect to each other. It's that pro-social connecting and making friends, because that is so important for all of us as we get older. We have also begun to provide educational programming. Just this month, we are wrapping up on Thursday a fall prevention program that we have partnered with YMCA to deliver on. We have also provided a matter of balance and other health type workshops. We're going to be doing more of these types of workshops as we move forward into the future. Oh, and by this time, 2022, we are now in 12 communities. And again, we are gearing up to expand more fully into Inglewood and Hawthorne areas. So the vision for the future for WPV is to start serving more seniors. We want to be able to create, to have more seniors in places like Manhattan Beach and El Segundo, and also recruiting more volunteers to be able to deliver on those services for WPV. The research tells us that there will be more people 65 plus than there will be 18-year-olds and under by 2030. So this is all what WPV is gearing up to do, is to be able to continue delivering quality services for seniors, because we are living longer. In addition to that, WPV envisions a future where all seniors have access to services, regardless of their ability to pay. And that comes with the expansion I talked about in terms of going into Hawthorne and communities like Inglewood. Also, Baldwin Hills will be one of the cities that we expand into. One of the goals we have is diversification and delivery of evidence-based programs. We're going to provide educational programs, which would include estate planning, fraud and scam prevention, IT assistance, and many more. In terms of health and wellness, we are planning on providing workshops on heart health, diabetes prevention, hypertension prevention, brain health. It's the whole mind, body, and spirit educational programs is what we'll be providing. We'll also create intergenerational programs, bringing together high school seniors and college students to come together with the older adults to talk about, as the young person is gearing up for the future, what do they have to look forward to? Because oftentimes the two generation, the younger adult and the older adult, have They're experiencing the same type of loneliness and isolation, but in different ways. The younger person has anxiety about what the future holds. What will happen to me? Would I be able to graduate college? Will there be a career for me? And what does this future look like for me? Whereas the older person concern is, here I am, I've lived this life and I don't even know, did the life I lived worth anything? And when the two generations come together and the older adult begin to share everything that they have accomplished, they feel so much more confident and excited about this life they've lived. And the younger person feels as though, oh my goodness, look at this person who've lived this life. So there is something for me to look forward to. I can go out there and make a future for myself. And at the end of it, I'll be okay because this person I'm engaging with is okay. So that is one of the highlights that we are going to be focused on, is the intergenerational component. Along with that is the nutrition program, eating nutritious foods, and hydration. Hydration is a huge issue for older adults, not being able to take in the liquids that they need in order for their bodies to stay hydrated. And also lifelong learning. We'll be creating book clubs and, where seniors can begin to learn a new language, or, they can take up knitting, or they can take up, we're gonna take them on trips to museums. So we'll be creating this diversified evidence-based programming for all of our members to participate in with us. One of our goals is, and this is something that comes up a lot and we've been asked about, because we are located here in Westchester, but we do provide services to El Segundo, Manhattan Beach, Playa del Rey, all of these other cities. One of the goals we have is to create hubs within each of these cities. And what the hubs will look like is, we would go into somewhere like Manhattan Beach, recruit 50 members, we'd have 75 volunteers, but they will all work together collaboratively to deliver on services within that community. And that model, it's the same village concept model, but it will be replicated within all of the other 12 cities that we are currently in, to include the new cities of Ladera Heights, Baldwin Hills, Inglewood, and Hawthorne. In order to do, to deliver on the programs, to create the hubs, to continue providing quality programs and services, one of the things we have to do is to build our capacity. So we would have to grow staff to be able to do the work. So looking towards the future, part of the goals for me as the new executive coming in is building the organization's capacity, and also looking at sustainability, because once we grow the programs and once we have evidence-based programs, we need to have the financial resources to be able to sustain it. And it takes a village. It's going to take all of us, all of the volunteers we have right now, all of the connections we have right now, being able to be here with all of you, to connect with you. It's really going to take all of us. It does take a village to be able to deliver on these services, from individuals, companies, foundations, and government funding, to make sure that we have all of the resources we need to deliver on services for seniors. And we do not plan on changing our name anytime soon. Our name will stay the same. We will still be Westside Pacific Villages. Even though we move into other communities and into other neighborhoods, Westside Pacific Villages is our brand, and it's who we are, and we will remain that way. So that's us. Thank you guys so much for your attention. If you have